This is an introductory video on reloading or hand loading. Let's talk about the different types of equipment that you'll need to be able to reload. So we're reloading brass that has already been fired, or maybe we're hand loading new brass. First thing we need to do is clean that brass. Here is one mechanism for cleaning brass. It's a case tumbler. There are other mechanisms, so be aware of that. But you got to clean your brass because you want to protect your equipment that you're using for reloading. That's why we clean it. You'll need a press. This is a reloading press. It's a turret press and all the accoutrements, all the attachments to it. The press itself is the heavy-duty hardware with the handle on it that all the attachments go to. You'll also need a sturdy workbench. This is attached to a workbench that's very solid, and you want a solid workbench because some of your actions with the press require some force. So you need a solid, sturdy workbench. You're going to need reloading dies. So this is a turret press attached to the top. There's these 4 dies, and they're caliber specific. So these are for .44 Magnum. If you're reloading another caliber, you need another set of dies. You're going to need a priming mechanism. So they're attached to the press with the words wear eye and ear protection, Lee. That is the priming mechanism. There are other types of priming mechanisms. Be aware of that. This is handy. It's connected right to the press. Just becomes a part of the reloading process. You're also going to need a powder delivery mechanism. Here on top with the red canister and powder in it, this is the powder delivery mechanism that's attached right to this press. That's very handy. It just becomes a part of the reloading process as I cycle through reloading a cartridge. There are other ways of delivering powder. For example, highly accurate rifle rounds. You're going to measure the powder and you're going to pour it into each case individually. That's great if you're reloading 6 rounds to go hunting. You want them to be super precise and accurate. When you're going for more volume, like pistol or revolver, having a powder delivery mechanism attached right to your press that allows you to produce volume but still produce a very safe, reasonable range of powder weights is fine. All right. Some other equipment that you're going to need. Still talking about powder, you're going to need some powder measuring scales. So here before you, we've got a manual scale in the back. We've got an electronic scale in the front. You must have an accurate way to measure gunpowder down to the tenths of a grain. So no messing around there. Got to have very accurate powder measure scales. You'll also need calipers for measuring the length of the overall cartridge, which is important for cycling through semi-automatic pistols and cycling even revolvers in terms of not being too long for the cylinders. All right. That covers the equipment that you need. Let's talk about the resources now that you'll need for reloading. If you've got all your equipment, you're still going to need some resources. And let's start with the very important one. You're going to need reloading handbooks. If you're just starting out reloading, the handbooks are going to teach you about reloading and many of the different reloading tools that you might need. But also very, very, very important, you are going to need reloading data. The handbooks provide reloading data for many, many bullet types, cartridges. Right there is my reloading recipe or data for the particular .44 Magnum bullet and powder and primer that I'm using. Those details are really important. So your recipe is going to be specific to the bullet. In this case, it's .44 cal, 240 grain. It's specific to the powder. In this case, it's VVN110. And it's going to be specific to the primer in terms of whether it's large pistol, small pistol, Magnum. You can certainly buy different kinds of primers and substitute them if we're substituting exactly a large pistol primer from one type manufacturer to another, or a small Magnum from one manufacturer to another. All right, then we've got our recipe. We got it either from a manual or some other 100% reliable source. The other resources that we need obviously are the components. So we've got our brass, we've got our primers, we've got our bullets, and we've got our powder. With those resources in hand and the equipment we've already talked about, we have everything we need to explore reloading. Hope this video is helpful.